What's poppin', y'all? This is Deidre with One Shot Game, man. You already know how the motto go. You get one shot at life, but a lifetime to learn all the game you need to help improve your life. The choice is yours on which route you choose to take. Now, as I always say, you get two choices: the ability to faithfully settle in the life that has been set out for you, or the ability to pave a path towards your destiny. That choice is also up to you. So before I get into the title of my video, I want to say a big shout out to all my supporters. You guys are great. And even the ones behind the scenes, I see y'all too. So look, check this out. Oftentimes, if not in the reality that we face currently right now, is the inability to understand that on some type of energetic level, we all relate to each other. You know what I'm saying? But due to our surface level, off top beliefs, that tends to separate us from understanding that we are all one. You know what I'm saying? And let me help y'all understand in a way to where it'll make sense to y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna explain it in the best of my ability way to make it so where people can understand how we tend to dismiss the fact that a lot of us are similar, you know what I'm saying, in each other. It's just, again, like I said, your off top beliefs can separate you from being able to understand how you're more like a person than you want to believe. You know what I'm saying? So let me break it down to a way where a lot of people hopefully will understand, because again, there are people in the world, me for example, that don't see no difference on a soul level between me and a lot of people. But again, your over the top core beliefs can have you dismissing the fact that you may be more similar to a person than you want to be led to believe, because you're more rooted in your predatory beliefs and actions than your soul alignment. You know what I'm saying? So again, let me explain it in a way to where people can understand. So look, when you instantly, automatically get attracted to someone, whether it's male to woman, woman to male, male to male, woman to woman, right? Because energy is fluid. It doesn't have no gender. You know what I'm saying? Because again, like I said, there's no labels when it comes to energy. It's just all what we feel and process in our mind as humans. You know what I'm saying? So when you instantly like someone or find yourself attracted to someone, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the times people don't understand that it's based off of predatory instinct. You know what I'm saying? And it's the ability to surface level, off top, prey or use your predatory instinct towards liking something. Like, I'm gonna just use me for example. When I was growing up, I used to think that, you know what I'm saying, oh, he looked good, oh, she fine, you know what I'm saying, without understanding that underneath that predatory aspect of a person is their soul. You know what I'm saying? Which will help you determine if a person is really for you or if a person is just preying on you. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes the difference between the two. So, you know what I'm saying? Me being who I am and you know, finally understanding who I am, my automatic instinct sometimes, which is, you know what I'm saying, related to the universe, you know? And the reason why I say that is because before I get to that, listen, y'all, I had 4 best friends in my whole lifetime. Very, very beautiful, you know what I'm saying, women as far as outside appearance, you know what I'm saying? But in the soul, we were a lot more alike, which helped us be best friends without the sexual attraction. You get what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of people tend to not understand that, you know? Because for me personally, it's more so like when I notice that about a person, you know what I'm saying? It all that's cut off. Like we more alike than you think. Towards that doesn't even cross my mind. I never even thought of you in that way. You know what I'm saying? But we cool. But due to who I am, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I find myself being attracted to a certain particular type. You know what I'm saying? And instantly it's like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? And listen, oftentimes they could be straight as a freaking rod. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, they're trying to process the fact how they may be attracted You know what I'm saying? To the same sex. But you got to think of it on a soul level, which separates the predatory aspect. You know what I'm saying? So look, go scaling back instantly. When I see something I like, I'll be like, ooh, predatory aspect kicked in. You know what I'm saying? As well as for them too. Because again, you basing it off of surface level. You know what I'm saying? You ain't really even got to the soul yet, right? So what happens is, once you start to connect with that person on a predatory level, for a person that is more rooted in predatory, you know what I'm saying, they'll stay there. And then a person that is more rooted in the soul, what happens is the predatory shifts off. They get back in control, and they now look at it from a soul level, right? And so now, as they're around a person, you feel me, studying them, monitoring them, watching them, they start to see how, you know what I'm saying, they're more so rooted in predatory. And predatory is not a bad thing. It just means like they're more rooted in what a person has, how good a person look, what they got, how much money they have, they don't have, you know what I'm saying? All they're rooted in that. And this is physical, not soul, you know what I'm saying? And then you have another person that sees how, you feel me, beneficial of a gain a person could be to their soul, which will help them get rich in the spirit, which therefore creates the life you want to live, right? So when I instantly am out of control, like I'm in my predatory mode. Damn. But then it takes a minute before I zoom back into the soul aspect of who I am, because what happens is when a person is more rooted in predatory, they start to not see you for you. They start to, you feel me, go back and forth based off of their predatory needs. You know what I'm saying? So when you're a person that looks at life through the soul, what happens is now it starts to become a war between the two. You know what I'm saying? A psychological war. And I got this, I got that, you don't got this, you don't got that, you know what I'm saying? But you are balancing off the soul. And because you don't see people as who got more, who got less, you see them for how their soul really is. And because they're blocked from looking at an aspect of their soul, you know what I'm saying, you start to counteract and fight against them and their predatory aspect of looking at things with the soul. So what happens is at some point they'll battle off with you, you know what I'm saying, and they'll think they're better, they think they got this going on, I overpower you, I control you in some type of way, I'm going to possess and control you, you feel me, to get in my stable of what I have going on, right? But you fight it and counteract it because you're more stronger in the soul and the spirit. So what happens is, once they feel or know that they've lost that battle, they automatically retreat back. You know what I'm saying? And now they have to do some introspection inside themselves, because they're trying to figure out, how did you spiritually win against a battle with them when they thought they were stronger in the area? You know what I'm saying? That they refused to look at. And what happens is the hidden traumas that were hidden from them being able to, you know what I'm saying, not spiritually be strong in that area like they thought they was, comes back to the surface. And now what happens is they take, you feel me, the part of themselves of where they may have felt less than, not adequate, and they analyze that situation. You know what I'm saying? And they eventually get down to the point of why a person may be spiritually stronger in who they are versus who they are. You know what I'm saying? But it's all internal growth on your own, right? But it's a process. It takes time. So as they're learning this and they're going through this, you know what I'm saying, they're pulling away from you. So what you may have thought was, you know what I'm saying, an attraction was a predatory attraction, not a soul attraction. You know what I'm saying? Because now they're starting to see the differences, and that helps you determine, for me, I feel personally, if a person is for you or they're not. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean they're not similar in the soul as you. It just means they have more work to do until they start to realize that those barriers you hold against other people, because of you being predatory in nature, separates you from actually having something that could be good for you, because you're predatory in nature instead of on a soul level. You get what I'm saying? It's complicated, but not really. Once you get down to it for real, you start to understand it on a level to where it starts to make sense. You know what I'm saying? Especially for somebody like me, like automatically you could look at me and assume this and that and this and this about who I am. You know what I'm saying? But not really knowing how to tap into your soul means you're blocked off from taking the route of where I'm tapped into mine. So then you may hit a roadblock spiritually between, you feel me, each other. And then like I said, retreat back into who you are, because now you feel as if you can't win, you feel me, physically, because somewhere in a person's soul, they may be stronger than you because you're acting out of predatory nature. Like, we have been locked off from our soul in, you know what I'm saying, a ton of ways to act out in predatory nature. And the predatory nature is surface level, off top shit. Just, you look good, you got this, oh, fine, and then you lock into, you know what I'm saying, maybe having intercourse with somebody, and then come to find out they not what you thought they were. You know what I'm saying? Again, like I said, it's all spiritual in nature first before it's physical reality and starts to make sense, right? So once I started to realize that about myself, you know what I'm saying, it helped me understand that oftentimes there will be people who are attracted to me and I'm attracted to them because of the fact that we thinking out of our predatory nature instantly, you know what I'm saying? And that, and listen, it's just what you've been trained to think. Like, you feel me? I'm just gonna be real, sex, astronomical, baby, get money, all that, you feel me? Listen, when it come down to that, I'm baby, listen, you know what I'm saying? So if you see that in someone else, it's your predatory nature. Not really looking at the soul, like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they're blocked somewhere right here. So if you interact with them too much, you know what I'm saying, you're going to stop your soul progress because they're blocked right there. Even though you may be past it, and y'all connect, and you feel me, start operating together, it's going to cause a clash. It's going to get to a point now where y'all don't like each other. You know what I'm saying? Because of the simple fact that y'all is separated in that area, but very similar in others. You know what I'm saying? So it starts to make sense how that causes a disruption in peace, solely because someone is more rooted in predatory nature than they are on a soul. But as, you feel me, that clash happens, what happens is it creates a separation in the soul. You know what I'm saying? And that person, or, you feel me, just using me for example, is forced to reflect on my own life and figure out where it is inside of me that I am lacking because of a trauma that I've hidden or repressed, you know what I'm saying, that made me feel less than. So if, you feel me, you are waking up to who you are, you automatically go back to your third eye. Your third eye starts to repress, so, you feel me, and get those memories from back there and bring them to the forefront. Then it's like a processing of understanding why you may not be so strong in the area where someone else is. You know what I'm saying? And that clash, that separation is like that until, you know what I'm saying, that person does the growth to be able to now feel as if, you know what I'm saying, okay, I'm open in that part of the soul. Now I see it on a different level now. You know what I'm saying? And again, sometimes people are not understanding of the person teaching the lesson, but they'll express their growth in maybe someone else. You know what I'm saying? Also, for it, when you're a person who reacts out of the soul, you don't get attached, you feel me, to things that are not meant for you to get attached to. Because again, like I said, predatory and soul sometimes I have you not looking at the person, but looking at the predatory aspect of yourself and how much you can gain from a person if you get them to be a person in your stable. You get what I'm saying? But a person who operates on a soul level, it's not about that. It's about understanding the areas where we need to grow, so we can start to understand that we are all one, whether, no matter how separated we may be based off of beliefs and thoughts, we are all one. You know what I'm saying? And that is a person who operates out of their soul. They see life like that versus someone who's been operated to think predatory, and it's been working for them. You know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, that's why you got to be careful who you try to recruit out of predatory, because you can come up against someone that, you know what I'm saying, their predatory alignment matches together. You know what I'm saying? Like they're predatory in nature, just like you, when it comes to how they see people right off the bat, off top. But once they get into a space where they know who they are, they control themselves. So they pull that back, and now they're looking from a soul level. And that, again, like I said, that's where the clash happens, because that person could be more rooted in their predatory aspect of who they are, which is similar to the person that they're trying to recruit. And then that person also has that predatory nature, but they also they're more rooted in their soul. because they're on a purpose, they're on assignment. You know what I'm saying? So they that's where they come from with it. And again, it causes that clash, that pull away. You know what I'm saying? So now what you thought you was highly attracted to may not be so attractive to you because they're stronger in an area spiritually than, you know what I'm saying, you may be. And again, that's just because of suppressed memories and traumas that we tend to put in the closet and not be able to pull to the front because we were in our predatory aspect, which is if you look good and you got money, you can get whoever you want until you start to recruit them into your little stable you got and find out they're not really who they are. And then it causes disruption in your growth on a soul level. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us don't realize that we are a lot similar in the soul simply because there are some doors open to others that are not open to others because of that predatory aspect. You know what I'm saying? So, knowing and understanding that once you start to, you know what I'm saying, be forced to look at yourself to solve the equation of why you thought in your head you may have been better than someone and you lost the spiritual battle because spiritually they were stronger than you. At some point you'll grow in knowing why that is, but it's all up to you. It's all up to you and how you thought, how you program yourself to believe, your childhood traumas, the things you suppress, and how you react in certain situations. It's all up to you. So if you are able to look back on that and solve it and react differently, then you'll start to see how a person really, despite what they have or don't have, is really spiritually aligned with who you are. I mean, spiritually they have the same motives. They have the same goals. They have the same mission. And that person really can be very beneficial towards you. You know what I'm saying? Or if not, to each other, to where, you feel me, it can help inspire a person to grow. But again, they have to get rid of that predatory aspect of domination and control, which means they have to come more from their soul, which means you got to do the work to actually be able to tap into that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it get complicated sometimes, but it's very informative that you realize that and understand it. Because I think if we would have knew that in the past, we wouldn't be where we at today. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things are falling apart because it was, I feel like, predatory aspect instead of the soul. You know what I'm saying? But as you wake up to who you are more and you start to tap into your soul because, again, you found your purpose, you're on a mission, you'll know who's for you in alignment. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is all happening spiritually. You know what I'm saying? It is not something that's expressed in words, but it's felt and it's understood on an energetic frequency that I promise you, I don't care how much you try to hide it, people can see and people know exactly what's going on, just as well as the two people that are stuck in a psychological war actually know what's going on too, and they know the battle that they fight and they know what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's all about understanding yourself, you know what I'm saying, and being aware of who you are. And it took me a long time to get to that aspect of myself. But once I start to dig more into who I am, what happens is it causes, you know what I'm saying, certain attractions that are not for me, but on a predatory aspect. Then once they figure out who they are and they've looked at the things that thought they thought they were better than me, what happens is now it starts to detach. Because again, you feel me, I'm the type of person, I attract lesbian women as well as straight women, but the straight women know they straight. They know they don't like rock with women like that. But the reason why you're attracted to me is because, like I said, your soul is in alignment with me, but you're still thinking on a predatory aspect. So you're not understanding the connection between the two. You know what I'm saying? All you're trying to figure out is, in a predatory way, how can I recruit this person? And you feel me? Because we are similar in nature, but I feel like I'm better. You get me? It's complicated, but not really. So, knowing and understanding yourself is the best way to get back to who you are. And it'll help you establish boundaries as far as who's really for you and who ain't. But again, since we've been programmed to believe that trauma is a means to hide and overshadow it with kindness and consideration and compassion, we tend to ignore the fact that we may be attracted to someone because our traumas are the same. You know what I'm saying? Listen, this is really not the person for us. This is really not, you know what I'm saying, someone we're attracted to like that. It's just the fact that on a trauma level, we have the same. But since I've repressed them and hidden them for so long, I don't even know that that's why I'm maybe attracted to somebody that I never thought I would be attracted to. You know what I'm saying? Until you're forced to cough those back up and look at them, which will help you get more into alignment with who you are, and your ability to think out of a predatory nature starts to, you know what I'm saying, dissipate as you align with your soul. Because again, when people start to align with their soul, they'll start to see there's no such thing as hate, jealousy, animosity. You know what I'm saying? Trying to one up someone, trying to control somebody. It's all about allowing people to be themselves, and you gravitate, you know what I'm saying, to them naturally. But again, a lot of us are stuck in predatory mode, and that is, I gotta have this, I gotta do this, I gotta look better than this, I gotta control this, I gotta have this, I gotta do this. Those are the things surface level that make me better than someone on a spiritual level. But spiritually, a person may not have as much and still be overpowering to you, period. You feel me? But it's not until y'all have a spiritual battle that you figure that out. Once that person stops you and bumps you down and you're forced to go within, then you're knowing and understanding, damn, okay, well, maybe what I got physically ain't all that there is. And it's oftentimes because of a repressed memory, a repressed situation where you felt less than. You feel me? You regarded it and act like it didn't exist. So now is the time to deal with it. You feel me? So everybody could be spiritually strong, to where, again, it's the ability to attract people on a level where you meet them at. Not on a level where I'm a predator in a predatory aspect, which is not wrong, but I'm more rooted in money, controlling, possessing, having more. That makes me more better than the next person. And that's not the truth. That's actually very false. So again, it's very important and vital currently in this day and age that we start to understand that oftentimes you'll get triggered by a person that is more powerful spiritually, you know what I'm saying, than you are in a predatory aspect. But the whole part of the mission is, in order for you to grow and understand who you are, you can't know that. So I have to be able to will you in by the attraction on a predatory level. You know what I'm saying? And listen, let me tell you something. A lot of us are sexual as hell in nature. You know what I'm saying? And that is automatic attraction when you know what's up and they know what's up. But again, like I said, it's all about, for me personally, controlling myself. I know what I like on a off top predatory level thing, okay? But I have to realize that it wouldn't be conducive for my growth in the long run because I'm acting out of a predatory nature. So it'd mean one time, one shot, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And that ain't healthy for nobody. You know what I'm saying? So now, maybe in the past we was on that type of shit, but now we done grown. We're trying to elevate and grow. You're trying to be able to understand, you know what I'm saying, the right people that's for you and the right people that are just preying on you. It's a very big difference between the two. You know what I'm saying? So listen, knowing and understanding that in order to get control back of yourself, you have to be able to do the work on yourself, which means there's a difference between who your soul is and who you align with on a predatory level. You know what I'm saying? And that predatory level in the long run can actually reveal to you how you may not be aligned with someone on a soul level. You know what I'm saying? And that soul level will have you understanding that you got to control who you are, because if you're attracted to people on a predatory level, then you will encounter problems because oftentimes their soul is not aligned with yours, and they'll just be someone that's trying to dominate, control you in a predatory way. And that's where you got to be careful at. And I think that's a lot of the reason why we're where we at now, because everybody's automatic instinct is predatory. You know what I'm saying? Because you haven't learned that control on how to control yourself yet. So automatically we go out into the world being like, oh, he look good or she look good, or damn, on the surface, damn, not realizing that the attraction could be stronger based on the fact that the traumas that we have hidden are very similar in nature. But it's going to be toxic if maybe y'all haven't passed some lessons y'all need, and so over time the relationship will start to be toxic as hell. You know what I'm saying? Or that person may be spiritually grown in the area where you haven't, and they're forcing you to grow and you're not ready yet. So now you become vengeful to them. You know what I'm saying? You become a hater towards them. You know what I'm saying? And that is what breaks you out of looking at people as far as the predatory way of what they have, don't have, how they look, what they look. It goes down to your soul, and you start to do the work to open your soul to see who's aligned with where you are spiritually. And that is how you find the person that is for you, that's willing to do life with you, because they're going to cater to those traumas, you know what I'm saying, in a kind, loving way, not in a way where they're trying to possess, control, and dominate those traumas because they identify them in themselves, but that's how they've got ahead in life. You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's toxic. And we dealing with that a lot right now. And hopefully I just broke it down to where people can understand it in a way where, you know what I'm saying, if you're being forced to grow, or you're spiritually thinking that you can control and possess someone basically off of what you have or don't have, once you do the soul work, you'll start to see how you're a lot more aligned with someone than you think you are, or how you're not as aligned with someone as you may think that you are. And that helps you determine, you know what I'm saying, who you need to keep around and who you don't. And that's very imperative right now, because we're in a lot of blocks in life because of our ability to not be able to connect to our soul because we're stuck in predatory mode. So listen, if you don't know what it is, I just told you. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.